Hello everyone, this is Ron. Welcome to another Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis video, and this is the time of the month when we analyze the financial performance of the game's previous month. How did the game do? How much the game earned? Was it a increase of earning, or was it a downfall? So let's talk about this earning report, and I'm going to take you to the browser now, where I'm going to show you the Sensor Tower monthly earning report. So let's go to the browser, guys, and here is the Sensor Tower monthly report. And as you can see, there is nothing really too much big change on the top positions. As usual, Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact are dominating the list. There are some couple of nice entries, by the way. Some games improved in a big way. For example, Arc Knight, huge improvement, guys. And if we proceed further, we need to find our Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis. Now you will notice something that I also noticed, that there is not only Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis, but there is a bunch of other Final Fantasy 7 games who are also appearing in this list. And that means what? That means technically we can say this term as cannibalization. There are many games. For example, let me just show you that there are many games related to Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy franchise. For example, this one, Final Fantasy Brave Evixas. Also, we are having a bunch of them. But let's talk about our Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis first. Let me quickly find it. Yes, Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis Japanese server. 2.8 million on January, and from there we are coming to 2.7 million on February, which is not really a big drop, and this is a good sign that shows that the game is actually approaching to a balanced income. But what about the global? Let's go and find the global for Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis. And by the way, for example, many games are actually performing really poor, and even poor than Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis. One Punch Man World, a newer game, probably a bigger game from a bigger developer, but it doesn't really matter. Now let's talk about, Final Fantasy War of Vision. Now, these are the games. These games are also available on a global basis. A lot of people are actually playing these games, and they are spending quite a good amount of money in those games. So we can say that there are certain games from the Final Fantasy franchise which are eating into the revenue of Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis. Let's move forward. Alright, we found the Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis global revenue. This is going to be 1.1 million. It was in January 2024, quite a good improvement. However, in February, another good amount of decline. So let me now take you to the Excel sheet, and I'm going to show you some analysis of these two servers. And as you can see, we are having all the data all the way from September to February. And in global server, from January to February, the decline was 27.27%. That means if we compare the revenue of February, that is 800,000, and if we compare this revenue to the January revenue, that is 1.1 million, the difference and the decline percentage is 27.27%. That's kind of a high, and I think this time global kind of suffered, because if we compare this revenue of December versus revenue of January, the decline was only 16.67%, which was a good sign, and I was kind of appreciating the fact. But once again, in the February, the global once again declined quite a good amount of percentages. And if we consider the Japanese January revenue was 2.8 million, February 2.7 million, and the decline is 3.57%. This is a very promising number, and we would like to see lower numbers in these two boxes, because if we are having lower numbers, we will have almost a steady and stable income for any game. So let's take you to the visualizations that I created. This is the visualization for global server earnings. Each and every month you can see September, October, November, December, January and February. A steady decline and not really showing some good promises. I was expecting to settle somewhere around this 1.1 million mark, but looks like it is kind of going down even more. But if we consider the Japanese server, look how stability looks like. In the Japanese server, of course, there were high earnings in September, October, November, big numbers. But since December, if you consider this December, January, and February, they are kind of similar. In the December, we were having 3 million. In January, 2.8 million. And in February 2.7 million. Of course, there is a slight amount of decrease, but not too much, not something really groundbreaking, and this decrease is around 3.57%. And if we compare this global server versus Japanese server, look at the huge differences. Even from the very beginning, the Japanese server is kind of dominating, and in many cases the revenue from the Japanese server was double the amount of global server. That's a big surprise. Look at this. On September it was double, on October it was double, November also double, December also double, and around in January and February I think the Japanese revenue has started to become way more than double the amount of global revenue, because not really because Japanese revenues are increasing a lot, but on the other hand the global revenue started to fall down. Now there are a couple of things I would like to say about this, and it is kind of sad, to be honest, it is kind of sad to see that the Japanese are supporting their own game in a massive way. That's so good to see, but what are the global people doing? What are the global fans are doing? Now another point we might also add that this game is technically not a global game. Why? Because there are certain countries where people cannot access this game at all. Even in China, people cannot play this game in China. Unbelievable. One of my commenters actually made this comment in my videos and let me know that you cannot play this game on China. That's very amazing to see that why they have still haven't really unlocked the game in China, because one of the biggest market is in China. But then again, even if you compare the existing countries that are already having the access to the game, for example USA, Europe, many countries from the Latin America also having the access, so there is at least quite a good number of countries. And I am really surprised to see that the revenue, this total revenue from all these countries, all these big countries, Western countries, I think this game is also available in Australia. There are many countries, even USA, all these countries together cannot even reach the half of the revenue that the Japanese are putting on. That's a shocking thing that I am discovering each and every day, and this is how we know that how much the Japanese are, how much passionate and how much they actually are supporting their own game and also different games. So this is something really interesting to know. Now let's think about a little bit of what were the events that we were having in the previous month. Of course, we had big banners like Cloud and Sephiroth. Also we had banners for the crossover, the Final Fantasy Rebirth crossover, one of the biggest event that took place. And I was kind of expecting a little bit upgradation in the revenue from the crossover, but always I was having the second thought, because as I have talked about before that in this game crossover weapons are kind of a curse, and it doesn't matter how strong your weapon, if you cannot upgrade the weapon, what's the point of getting it? And if we think about, if you go to the notice, and they have recently released another notice about upgrading this weapon level to more, level 90 to level 120. So more upgradation is coming, but this crossover weapon, there is no freaking way to get another copy of those crossover weapons. So I think this is one of the major reason why crossover weapons are failing, crossover banners are failing. And in that regard, I think this limit break banner is also not going to do really good, because this limit break banner has the same nature. You cannot add this weapon to this wish list, you cannot upgrade this thing for free. So these type of banners are kind of discouraging the players to some extent. However, the banners are good, the mechanisms are good. I think the game need to figure out some options and some sort of ways. In that way, we can upgrade these limit break banners, limit break weapons, and also these crossover weapons in some other mechanism. There should be some sort of mechanism. Otherwise, people will not simply pull on those banners, and those great banners are going to simply fail. So these are the analysis that I wanted to make about this February revenue. The upcoming month is going to be very big, because I think a lot of people are actually summoning this limit break banner. This is going to be a broken banner, to be honest, and I am also going to do the polls, and I'm curious to see that how much of a contribution this banner is going to make in the development of this game. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to support the content, support the channel, and I hope to see you guys soon in some other videos. Till then, stay awesome and peace out, my friends.